Hello everyone! Today we will have a conversation about very interesting language called Bemba that is spoken in Zambia, that is situated in Africa. And we have today Besilah to represent her native language, Bemba. Hello.
Hello. Yes, so...
how to say hello in Bemba, sorry. how would you say hello in Bemba?
Okay, so when you want to say hello in Bemba, you just say Mulishani.
Mulishani! Mulishani!
Mulishani is the we, like respect. But if it's your friend or someone, just say Ulishani. And your friend you say we know.
We know. We know.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So my first question about Bemba today is about the phonetic system, the alphabet. Is it so different from Russian or from English, or it's like?
No, it's exactly the same. We use the English alphabet from A to Z, except you don't have R. So all the words in Bemba, you will never find R in Bemba. Yeah, but the alphabet is the same. As you can see, these are letters, Latinsky alphabet, from the Latin alphabet.
So you don't have R sound, yes?
I'm saying here too.
So the phonetic system is like close to English and Russian. So what can we say about the numbers? I know that there is something interesting about numbers.
Yeah, so when it comes to numbers, we have... Okay, first, these are the first 10 numbers in Bemba. And well, they use the 10 system numbering, where you can count from 1 to 10 and the numbers that follow the same system. So I'll give you an example. Chimo is 1, and then Fibili is 2, Fita 2 is 3, Fine is 4. Sorry, I forgot to write. This is 4. And you know the funny thing is, this is in English is actually fine, but it's so that you don't forget. Fine, 4. And then Fisano, Fisano is 5, and then Wutanda is 6. And then it's a little bit interesting when you come to this part, because we have Chine. Chine and Fine are almost like the same thing, except, okay, yeah, they are basically almost the same thing. So Fine is representing 4 here. And then you're saying Chine Lubali. Lubali comes from a verb that means partly or not exactly, which means that there's something missing from this chine. And then when you go to the next number, which is 8, you see it's written chine conce conce. Conce conce means complete, like it's complete in every direction. So here 8, mathematically 4 plus 4, okay, 4 plus 4 is 8. And then we have 8 as chine conce conce. So I'm a chine muli 8 there are 2 8s, there are 2 4s in 8, which means that this 8 has been completed by the 2 4s. And then when you go back to this one, it was about to be completed, but it was missing something. That's why it's called chine lubali.
Yes, incomplete 8. Okay,
yes,
and you look 7 like incomplete 8. Logical.
Yeah. And then number 9 is Paula. Paula is also almost like Lubali. Lubali means partly, but Paula means incomplete, like torture is incomplete. So this one is incomplete because na Pabudila there's something missing. So there's something missing from this, and what is missing? 1. So when you add 1 to this, it becomes 10, which is Ikumi. So these are the first numbers, the first 10 numbers of the Bemba counting system. After 10, what follows is simply 10, or ikumi na chimo, or ikumi na, depends on how you're counting anyway. So ikumi na chimo is 11, ikumi na fibili is 12, ikumi na means and, or na ruskam I. So ikumi na fitatu, ikumi na fine, ikumi na fisano, ikumi na utanda, ikumi na chine luvali, ikumi na chine konse konse, ikumi na paula. And then when you reach 20, it becomes amakumi yavili. Yavili as in fibili. Makumi 2. Yeah, so
Like
that's
2 times 10.
yeah, exactly. So that's basically how you count.
It's logical system. It's interesting that it incorporates like 4-oriented system, like 2 times 4, it's something complete, and then 10.
And then 10 as well.
Okay, the numbers fantastic. What's about the neighbors of Bemba language? Here we have a map. Let's go to the map, yes, the map of Zambia. Can you show us the linguistic map of Zambia? Where is, it's Zambia, where is Bemba spoken?
So firstly, I will just start with an introduction of Zambia. So Zambia is located in southern Africa, and it's divided into 10 parts. So as you can see here, it's divided already, and you can see the difference in colors, except I should mention that this big part here, which is northern Severnaya, the northern part of Zambia, is currently, as we speak now, it's divided into 2. So maybe we can just divide it ourselves. It's divided into 2. This is called Muchinga province, and this is northern province. The one that's most northern. It's northern province. So Bemba actually is spoken by over 30% of the places in the entire Zambia. So Bemba is like the most common language in the entire country. Except I must mention that Bemba is originally Bemba belongs only to this province here, Luapula, to northern province, Muchinga province, and central province. Those are the original places where Bemba is supposed to be spoken. But because of migration, of course, people who are from these places have migrated to other countries, other parts of the country, and now Bemba is widely spoken all over Zambia. Yeah, but initially this province, this one and this one is where Bemba is spoken. And then we have other languages as well, like Nyanja, that's spoken in Eastern Province and Lusaka. We have Tonga that's spoken here in Southern Province. We have Lozi that's spoken here in Northern. We have Lunda, Luvale, and Kaondi. Those are spoken here in Northwestern and here on the Copper Belt. Actually, I forgot to mention, the Copper Belt is also dominated by Bemba. The Copper Belt province. Yeah. And then most of these languages actually are Bantu languages, if not all of them. They are Bantu languages that actually originate from the Bantu migration. So when the people were migrating during that time, they were migrating south. So you find that in most of these countries that surround Zambia, the languages that are spoken there are similar to these languages that are spoken in Zambia. For example, the languages that are spoken here in Zimbabwe, for example, the language Shona, is very similar to the language Tonga that's spoken in Zambia, in the southern part. Yeah, so basically, the mother group or the mother family is the Bantu, Igori. And then the rest of the languages that I've mentioned, like Tonga, Lozi, Luvale, Kaonde, Lunda, Nyanja, and finally Bemba, are the subdivisions for us in Zambia. But I must mention also that apart from these 7 languages, altogether we have 73 languages in Zambia. 73.
So much.
So many.
They are not understandable between each other, so you need to speak any language to understand it, not just you can hear and understand any neighbor language.
Well, like I said, they are categorized in 7. There are 7 head languages, and then there are other languages falling under these groups. So for example, there's the Bemba group. In the Bemba group, there's Ushi, there's Lala, there's Lamba, and some other languages. So if I speak Bemba, someone who speaks Lala or Ushi or something, or the rest of the languages will be able to understand me and is able to actually speak to me in their language, and I'll understand them. But for these other languages, for example, Tonga and Bemba, if you don't know Tonga, you can understand a few things because of the Bantu origin, but generally you can't understand if you don't know Tonga. So that's why, like I said, you're supposed to be able to understand at least the mother language. Like, yeah, for example, Bemba, you can understand the ones that fall under Bemba. If you understand Tonga, you can understand Lenje, Ila, Lenje,
everything that comes from
everyone that comes from that group, you can understand. But like I said, Bemba is widely spoken in Zambia. So you can go to any part of Zambia and you speak Bemba, and there will be someone who will be able to understand you. Yeah.
So let's go to Bemba exactly. Well, let's go to the structure of Bemba. Bemba is Bantu language, so it has its own structure, consisted of the prefix, the system of prefixes, not the suffixes like in Russian, and the endings like in Russian, yes, and in English, for example, in most of the European languages that they have like a suffix system. Yes, and you have like a prefix system. For example, to make a plural. How would you make a plural of any word?
Any word in Bemba. Okay, so firstly, I must mention that in Bemba there are a lot of exceptions. So we don't really have like a defined system of pluralization. So I'll give examples. Maybe if I can write something. So the first example that I'll give is of people. So in Bemba, a person is umuntu. Umuntu is a dinchilavik. Umuntu, a person. So when you're referring to people, usually we just change the suffix. So here the suffix is u. And then if you want to make it plural, we just change it to ava. So it becomes ava mtu. Yeah, here it was, so it's umuntu. So it's umu ava. Yeah, so umuntu is changing to abantu. Abantu is plural, umuntu is singular. So like she said, it's basically operating on the prefix system. And the rule follows for most things, most words that refer to people. For example, umulumendo. Umulumendo. This is a boy. So umulumendo, we have umu. If we want to make it plural, we just say ava lumendo. Yeah. So usually when you're dealing with people, you find umu and just change it to ava. Usually. And then when you're referring to things, it's usually ichi. Like ichi muti. Ichi muti is a tree. Tree. So if you want to make ichi plural, if you want to make ichi muti plural, you look at the prefix here, ichi, and then you change it to ifi. Ifi muti. Ifi muti is plural for trees. Yeah. So usually when again you're talking about things, you will find ichi to represent one, and then you just change it to ifi. For example, another one, ichitabo. 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 Yeah. So you change this. So tell me, what is going to be?
Ifitabo.
Exactly. Ifitabo.
It's tables.
No. Ichitabo is a book. Itebo. Actually, the funny thing is that in Bemba, some words are gotten from English. Like for example, table. In English it's table, and then in Bemba it's iteulo. It's a little bit similar. So like they didn't, I don't know if they have a word for it, but they just got it and made it, they just made it in their own way, like a way that's easy for them to say, but it's basically the same thing. Table, iteulo. Spoon, supuni. Car, motoka.
It's like you need to make the words similar to the phonetics of Bemba.
Yeah.
And as I've noticed that in Bemba you have open syllables. So the closed syllables with ends on consonant, they are not so popular.
Actually, as far as I know, there are basically no words at all in Bemba that ends with a consonant.
It's like
That's
impossible.
That's strange.
So you need to add some vowel.
Yeah, usually, if not all the time, there's always a vowel at the end of a word in Bemba.
So cool. The table was taken from Latin, but it was tabula. And now in Bemba you change back to Latin.
Yeah, we changed it back to Latin, Intervyu. Yeah, so that's how you form the plurals. Like I said also, so usually when you're referring to people, like umuntu, you change umu to aba, umu, aba. And then when you're referring to things, it's ichi, ifi. This works, but not all the time. So, for example, if you want to say the plural of house, so a house in Bemba is inganda. So, when you hear inganda, I guess maybe if you know this rule, the first thing that you will come and say is maybe ifinganda. But no, that's not correct. It's an exception. So inganda just remains inganda. One inganda, two inganda, three inganda. Yeah, it's all inganda.
Like metro and palto in Russian.
Yeah, metro and palto. Yeah, and then also things like ingombe, which is a cow, it also just remains ingombe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so in Bemba, generally speaking, there are a lot of irregular nouns where most of the times it just remains the way it is. Just remains the way it is, and sometimes it's different. Like ili ni, amani. Ili ni is an egg, and then the plural is amani. Yeah, so the rule, it's very difficult to come up with one or two or three rules to govern all the nouns, but for now, since we're beginners, we'll just learn whatever and iffy.
Okay. When we talked about the ты, вы, the you in English, yes, a difference. Plus, you mentioned that you have a difference between you, like you, the younger person, and the older person.
Yes.
Well, in Russian we also have this, but maybe you have some differences between Russian and Bemba.
Well, okay. So we have we and T as well. So in Bemba, I can even give you an example. Here I wrote, okay, let me just say something else. Like, for example, batata. Batata is father. But this va here is representing the respect that you add to it. And then there's also a form where you can just say just tata without the va. Yeah, so this is something that people do, but it's not necessarily the correct thing. So usually the we, for us, we is used to refer to somebody who's older than you. Even if it's just by 1 year. Yeah, but
Even if it's friend.
yeah, even if it's your friend, as long as they are older than you, even if it's your sister. Okay, let me remove the friend. If it's your friend, you can just call them what their name is. But for example, your name is Anna Andreevna. So in Bemba, I cannot call you Anna Andreevna. I'll call you Va Anna Andreevna.
Like respectful.
Yeah, I have to add the respect. Why? Because firstly, because you're older than me. Yeah, and then when you're older, you have to add. When somebody is older than you, you have to add the respect. Or maybe if you do not know the person, if it's a formal situation, we can know each other, but we are operating in the formal, so we'll say we, which is va in Bemba. And then for somebody that's not older, you just call them their name, like Anna Andreevna, Besilah. Yeah, that's T. When it comes to verbs, when I'm saying what did Anna do, I will say, if I'm talking about Anna who's older than me, there are two Annas, one who's older and one who's younger, and then I want to ask, what did she do? So when I'm talking about the older one, I'll say Nishi va chitile. And then if I'm talking about the younger one, I'll say Nishi a chitile.
It's a
A is
marker of
younger.
younger.
Yeah, and then va is older. So we also have a, v and t, and v is usually just for people that are older than you or in a former situation. And it doesn't really matter whether it's your mother or your grandmother or your sister, as long as they're older, there's one. But of course, now that things are becoming modernized and the like, people are running away from these things. So it's not everybody that does it, but for the sake of respect, which is one of the values of the Zambian society, we use va, I mean.
It means a lot for you, yes?
Yeah,
Like
it means a lot.
part of the culture. Yes, I understand, of course. And talking about the verbs, let's continue talking about the verbs. What about the tense system in Bemba? You don't have so much verbs as English has.
No,
No,
in English
but
there's
more than
so many tenses.
Yeah,
It's overwhelming.
Our pain for all of us who learns English. So, what's about Bemba tenses?
Well, in Bemba, as far as I know, there are only 4 tenses. There's the past tense, and then there's the recent past tense, there's the present tense, and then there's the future. I'll give an example. Of the verb to read. So to read is ukubelenga. Ukubelenga. Yeah, that's to read. So when you're referring, we're talking about the tenses. So in the past, ukubelenga, if it's ya, of course, which is me. If I want to say that I read in the past, I will say na li ve lenga. And then if I want to say that I read today, like the recent past, when I say the recent past, I'm talking about maybe something that happened today, but maybe in the morning. It's still in the past, but it's not the far distant past, it's the recent past. So I will say na chi ve lenga. So you see that there's a difference. Here there's chi, and then here there's li. And then if you want to talk about something that happened, or something that's happening right now, I am reading, you say nde velinga. Nde velinga. And then if you want to say that I will read in the future, you say nka velinga. So you notice that there are those differences. So nde is symbolizing now, nka is the future. And then here, it's almost the same thing, but the difference is the li and the chi. So these are basically the tenses that we have for almost all the verbs that you find in Bemba. These are the differences. I'll give another example of a different verb so that you can see that all of them will still have li, chi, nde, and nka. For example, ukuipika, which is to cook. So if you cooked in the past, in the far distant past, you say nalipiki. And then if you cooked today in the morning, you say nachipika. And then if you're cooking now, you say nde ipika. And then if you're going to cook later in the future, you say nka ipika.
So it's quite regular. So you can take any verb and make this like.
Yeah, this system is defined. It's very regular. You just have to know li, chi, nde, nka, and the like. And if you notice, like she said, here we have in Bemba, all of the changes are being made to the first part of the word. The prefix is the one that's being changed. Everything here at the end is the same. Unlike in Russian, where when you're conjugating the verbs, the suffix is the one that changes. So in Bemba, we have the prefix system. So basically, that's how it operates.
So, and as I know, in Bemba you have a mixture with English sometimes. And can you use any English verb and put it in this system? Will it work?
Yeah, of course. So a verb or maybe just anything English, even noun or something. So we do sometimes, like remember I wrote here, I said ichitabo. Ichitabo is the Bemba word for a book. But sometimes, especially young people No, but it's very rare to find a young person saying ichitabo. People just say books. So you find somebody speaking Bemba and they're saying, I'm reading a book. So instead of them saying, we are in the present, yeah. So instead of them saying, nde velenga ichitabo, they'll say, nde velenga ibuku. Yeah, ibuku as in one book. Yeah, so nde velenga ibuku. And people will understand, okay, this person is reading a book. Nde velenga ichitabo. Yeah, so there's a very common mixture in Bemba where people add English words to Bemba. And sometimes it's because we don't know the Bemba word for it. And sometimes it's just because it's easier. Yeah, it's easier. Ndevelenga ibuku, nishilechita understand. Yeah, alenda panono or alenda slow. Yeah, so it's very common for Bemba and English to mix.
So it's nothing rare in this. It's like common thing.
Yeah, especially for young people. Older people usually just, if they are speaking Bemba, they'll speak Bemba. If they're speaking English, they'll speak English.
They divide.
Yeah, they divide. For us,
the new convention Bemba. Okay. And we have, at the end of our interview, I'll ask Besilah to make riddles for us in Bemba with translations. And you will write the answer down below. So, Besilah thinks they are so easy, but I don't think so.
they're really easy. Okay, so there's one. In Bemba, we say, Inganda iyawula ichivi. As in, it's translated to a house without a door. Inganda iyawula ichivi. What is it? Okay, and then there's another one. It's simple, really simple. You guys you'll get it at once. It's ndenda valentotela. Ndenda valentotela. Ndenda is to walk. So I'm walking and they are clapping for me. Who is clapping for me? Yeah, so those are the two riddles. Inganda iyawula ichivi, a house without a door. What is it? And then ndenda valentotela. Who is clapping for me? Yeah, so those are the two riddles we're going to leave you with. We're waiting for the answers in the comment section.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was so interesting interview, and I hope you will see more videos recently.
Yeah, of course. I'll come back with another language.
Okay, come, of course, come and tell us more. Bye.
Alright, bye guys. Thank you.
How to say it in Bemba?
How do you say it in Bemba?
Bye. You don't do it.
No, we usually just say maybe obedience here. Like tukamonana.
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 Tukamonana.